Welcome, everybody. Obviously, this is about GEMpay and the basics. We have a pretty big deck to get through today. We got 38 pages with about 30 minutes of content, so we're going to kind of keep it moving pretty good. But you're going to get a lot of details in this. That I think will be very helpful for you. We're going to save time at the end for Q&A. You should all see a Q&A button at the top of your screen. So if you could use that to submit your questions, Pal's going to collect them at the end, and then she'll read through them, and we'll get through them together. The webinar is also going to be recorded, so if any of your colleagues couldn't join today, you'll get a link to the webinar, and you can feel free to share it with them. We'd like to get this out to as many people as possible. Also, too, you're going to get a webinar survey post this webinar. I know we don't like to fill out surveys a lot, but it's going to just be questions that are going to help us, like how did we do? What topics do you want to see in the future? Things like that. And you get the chance to win a $25 Amazon gift card. So, I mean, come on, how can you beat that? That's great. So please fill out those surveys if you can. Let's go over the agenda. I'm just going to, after this introduction, I'm just going to do a quick front-end user experience for GEMpay, what your cashiers see, what your customers see. The back end, the under the hood stuff, that's going to be Austin Cannon, our subject matter expert for GEMpay. He's going to probably be able to give you a lot of what y'all are looking for in regards to reporting tips, setting up account tips, things like that. So he'll get into that, as well as getting into our roadmap for 2025, what we have left coming for the back half of the year. We'll talk about resources. I'll talk about resources at the end. Troubleshooting tips, who you can go to, what you can do, things like that. And of course, we talk about the Q&A portion. We'll get into that as well. So we are your masters of ceremonies today. I am Mark Lehner. I've been with the company for 2 years. Probably know a lot of you as your account relationship manager. Austin Cannon, again, our tech support subject matter expert for GEMpay. He'll be going into all of the details that you'll probably want to see on the back office stuff. So let's get into GEMpay. So obviously, you all know this is a badge pay system. We offer various account types. As you can see, our most popular probably are payroll deduction, department charges, gift cards, declining balances. Basically, whatever you need us to do, we have a solution for you in regards to this badge pay system. What you see there are a couple of photos. One is a self-serve kiosk with a couple of buttons there for GEMpay Tender and GEMpay Inquire. We're going to get into that in a second. The other one is our mobile application. That is our Gem2Go app. And kind of think of that like as, like I liken this to, if I'm ordering something like lunch from Jersey Mike's or, Chick-fil-A or something like that. The menu is right there. You build your menu. You can pay for it on the application and schedule a time to go pick it up. The same deal here, right? Your customers can build their menu, build what they want to, their sandwich or whatever they're going to buy, pay for it with Badge Pay, our GEMpay application, pick a time, and then that order is then sent to the kitchen for preparation. Next is what the cashier is looking at in regard whenever they are on our workstation. Again, you'll see the GEMpay Inquire button and the GEMpay Tender button there. In this case, let's say you have a customer that comes through and wants to see maybe just the details of their account. Basically, what do they have left on their account? In this case, this user came through, it shows everything. It shows their name, their badge number, their account number, the account type, but most importantly, the balance that they have left on their declining balance account. In this case, it's about $26 or so. There is an option to add money onto that account if they need to. That's that account load button there. But in this case, this user was just buying lunch and her total came to about $9. So she had plenty in her account to go ahead and buy that meal. So just basically, the cashier is just clicking a button, the user swiping their badge, and they move on with their day. We understand that the most important thing for GEMpay is the quickness, right? We know that your folks don't have a lot of time, a lot of break time in their day. So we want to move them in and out of the line as quickly as possible. And that's really the ultimate goal with GEMpay is getting things done quickly. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Austin, and he is going to go through all of the back end stuff. So Austin, please take it away.
Thank you, Mark. Great job. Great job. I appreciate you. And get here and get things set up. Get my little laser pointer ready. And here we go. I saw a lot of familiar names. So a lot of people in here I've already spoke to over the few years that I've been here at Common Sense. So good to see y'all here. I'm happy y'all made it here. So we're going to go ahead and dive into this. So kind of our topics we're going to look at are managing accounts, transactions, reports. We're going to touch on queries and then kind of give you a sneak peek into how we do user privileges and kind of cater your GEMpay experience when you log into GEMpay. So go ahead and move forward. So first, we're going to start off as this is the screen that most of you are going to come to when y'all log into GEMpay for the first time or for the 100th time for some of y'all. The management tab over here is highlighted, and we're going to go ahead and go into the account edit screen. And now this will allow us to look at an account specifically that we need to look at. So we're going to move forward here. And once you hit account edit, it's going to bring up the account lookup. Now, the things to know are you can search by account number, badge number, or last name. Now, this is really vital in the information that you get from the person that you were trying to help and assist, but it's also important to us as support. If you do need to bring something to us, these are the kind of information that we need in order to be able to support the end user. So for today's example, we're going to use the last name Young to get to our account. We're going to go ahead and move into Emma Young's account. Now, first glance here, a lot of it's pretty legible and palatable for most people. You can kind of look at it and understand just by looking and reading. So you can see the first name here, the last name, phone number, email. Mark kind of talked about the Gem2Go, the ordering. That email, it can tie into here for their GEMpay account. We can have that sync over, and that's where it pulls from is here. But the big things to kind of look at is the profile right here and the location. These are going to be two big things for most accounts. So that way you can verify if they have the right account profile, whether it's payroll deduct, if they have a meal plan account, if they're independent living, assisted living, or is it a physician account? Is it a department account? Those are going to kind of be the first things you want to look at for the account. So verify, the account number here at the top, the first name, last name, and then check that account profile and make sure that's good. From there, make sure the location is good. For most of y'all, default is going to be the best. It allows it to see any location that you have set up. And most of y'all are only going to see default in the dropdown because you may not have GEMpay separated by locations. For instance, you may not have Alaska and Georgia in that dropdown. It may just be default. So verify that they have the proper location as well. And then the active date, make sure their active date's, when it's supposed to be. An expiration date, if they need to have an expiration date, make sure it's there. If not, you can leave it blank and it'll never expire. A couple of other things real quick are these custom fields right here. You have the diet, allergies, preference, and notes. This is not on all accounts. We can add these as needed. From there, you can kind of fill out the information that you want there. So when somebody pulls up the account, they can see the notes on the account that you may have there. And the last thing on this page we're going to look at is the status here. You have this account and active checkbox here. If it's checked, this account can't be used. If it's unchecked, the account's good to use. And those custom fields I was talking about, when you do a balance inquiry, like Mark was actually talking about earlier in one of the previous slides, those actually are populated from the GEMpay account edit screen. So whatever you put here, we can have reflect in that inquire, so that way the cashier or anybody who's pulling up that information can have that information at hand and know exactly what they need to see. All right. The next tab on the account edit screen, so we were on this account tab right here, is going to be the badges tab. So the badges tab is just what it is. It's just going to show all the badges that are tied to the account. For Emma Young, we only have one badge, and this is going to be the badge number here. So you are going to want to verify that the badge number shown underneath that account is the badge number that you know that they're supposed to have from your demographic system, your payroll system, HR system, whatever system that you work with alongside GEMpay that feeds that information. You want to make sure that those match one-to-one. We can see the name for Emma Young here. We can see that it is an active badge. It's got a good active date, and there's no expiration. Daily limit's good, and badge limit's good. So we can set these limits here. From here, you can't set them, but it allows you to see if there's any limits tied to that badge. Now, if I go back here and you click this badge number, it'll lead you to this next screen to where it's kind of like the account page for the badge. So you're going to see a lot of the same information just for the badge specifically. So we see the badge number here instead of account number. We see a badge profile. So if it was an employee badge, and let's say Emma also had a physician badge that had a stipend tied to it, there may have been a second badge there and it had the badge profile physician. That would need to be set there, make sure that was correct. And the location, we want to make sure that the location matches the account in this instance because it's their one location. However, let's say Emma Young had a different badge for a different location, you could set that badge to only work at that location. First name, middle name, last name, email doesn't really need to be tied here, but it is fine. If you want to give that information underneath the badge as well, you can put that there. You also have an active date and expire date here, so just make sure and verify those are the dates that you want them to be. And then those limits that I was talking about on the previous screen, those are set here. Now this ties only to this specific badge, so if Emma Young had a second badge, those limits set here wouldn't affect that badge unless you went into that badge and made those changes there. But the badge limit is going to be just the total limit that badge can charge in the given cycle. Most of those cycles are either set bi-weekly or monthly. So, $100, they have that frame of time. A daily limit is going to be a daily clock. So if you only wanted them to be able to spend $7 a day, that's where you would set that for this badge. And then for the transaction limit down here, this would be if you only wanted them to spend no more than a $10 lunch at a time, no big transactions. This person to say, hey, I have a hard time controlling myself in the gift shop. Make sure I don't spend any more than $10 per transaction. That's somewhere you could set that as well. Next, we're going to move on to the transactions tab. So at the transactions tab, this is where any charges that Emma Young's going to do is going to pop up here. Now, this is based off of the cycle set up for the account. So if it's a payroll deduct account, most of the time you're going to see it on a bi-weekly cycle. So it's going to be the transactions for that bi-weekly cycle that you have set up there. Typically follows your payroll cycles as well. The information you kind of see here, you got the check number from the POS system, the date, the outlet in which it was charged, so the location it was charged at, the description. This is actually going to be the charge type or the transaction type. You have charges, payments, and if it was swiped or not. The charges, this bottom number is just going to be the accumulative for both of these, and it just reflects from there. A few buttons you're also going to have are the previous cycle, next cycle, current cycle, and date range. These cycle ones are just going to obey the cycle range that you have, so it's kind of self-explanatory for the previous and next and current cycle. Date range, however, will not split it off in those cycles, but it will allow you to have the date range of transactions that you're wanting. So, if Emma Young came into your office and said, hey, I was curious about my transactions from December of 2024, you can easily pull them there for Emma Young. Or, she's a resident who needs to know, hey, I need to know how much of my meal plan I spent November of last year. You can also do that through the date range. And here you can just see that we went back a previous cycle because this cycle date's beginning in March 1st, 2025, and just some more charges here and just kind of how they add up as well. And the last tab that we're going to touch on for the account edit screen or the account screen is going to be the balances. Now, these are where all of the charges and loads and refunds and all of that stuff kind of move into, so you can keep track on one page of how much they've actually spent or how much money they may have left in their meal plan, how much left they have of their stipend, so on and so forth, whatever it may be for your specific account and how you utilize the system. So here you're actually going to see we have meal plan and payroll deduct, just to show the difference in these accounts here. You can see the limit set here for meal plan, so it cannot exceed $300 and it cannot exceed a daily limit of $10. For the payroll deduct bucket is completely wide open. They can spend as much as they want, right? That's what most of us probably want, especially in the gift shops. And if we dive into the meal plan bucket, this is actually where those limits are set. Now, when you set a limit on the bucket, you're setting it for the bucket for that account. So it's a little bit more global than the badge. However, if they have multiple different buckets, it only affects the individual bucket that you set the balance limit to. So the limit, $300, we're not going to let this exceed $300 until it's reset. Daily limit, again, that daily cycle, it's only going to get $10. Quantity limit, for stipend cases, or resident living, maybe you want them to have, no more than 3 meals a day. Don't exceed that. And if they do, maybe that goes into their room charge. Or physician stipend. Hey, they get 3 meals a day that they can spend. This is where you would set it for that account. Well, that would be for the daily quantity limit, actually. The quantity limit would be they can't exceed X amount of transactions on the account, period. So the last bit of information here is the last payment. So it's the last time any kind of payment was made, whether it's a refund or a load to a meal plan bucket, and then the last charge, the last time that they used that transaction or that bucket to charge. Okay, so next we're going to move into batch, create, edit, post. This allows us to kind of post a transaction from the GEMpay side, kind of bypassing the POS system. Keep in mind, anytime you need to kind of do any refund, I highly recommend that you do a refund on the POS level. This allows it to communicate with GEMpay, and it keeps your POS report and your GEMpay report 1-to-1, and it always matches. It looks clean. Makes your audits a lot easier when you have to do them. You don't have to go around chasing the information around. So highly recommend any kind of refunds, do them at the POS level. It'll make life easier for you, I promise. But this use case will be good for if, let's say your system went down and you need to post some transactions in GEMpay, offline. You can do that here. If you need to load extra money onto a resident's account, you can do that here. If you want to, it's Christmas time and, the hospital wants to do like a holiday $5 load and give everybody $5 to spend at the cafeteria, $10 at the gift shop. This is kind of a place that you would kind of do that at. So when you click that batch, create, edit, post, you're going to get a screen like this, which is very similar to the account edit screen, which again goes to show you how important account numbers, badge numbers, or just knowing the last name of the account is for both you and for me. So again, we're going to use Emma Young as our example. So we're going to go ahead and put Young in the last name, and we're going to hit start search. And here you can see that it found Emma Young's account. We have her account number and her badge number. Just go ahead and verify that information really quickly. Make sure you have the correct account and you're good to go. The batch ID up here, you can set it to whatever you want it to be. This is just the unique identifier for that specific badge. So when you go to the badge posting screen, you know which batch you were looking for. For this first example, we're going to do 2 examples. For this first example, we're going to do a charging to the account or a charge to the account. And for the second one, we're going to do a load to the account. So the trans date and the trans time, it can be whenever you want. It could be in the past if you need to correct a previous cycle, or if you need to post in the current cycle, or for some reason, if you need to post into the future, you can set that here. The outlet, so this is going to be the location in which the charge is going to be posted to. So whether this is the cafeteria, the gift shop, the bistro, any kind of those, the Starbucks, the coffee shop, that's where you're going to want the charge to be. And reflect in your reporting, that's what you're going to choose. For the transaction depth, look at this as your transaction type or your charge type or your load type. This is where you're going to choose if it's a meal plan, if it's a room charge, payroll deduct, gift shop charge, cafe charge. A lot of different accounts have a lot of different nomenclature for this. So just make sure you choose the proper one for where you're trying to charge. Um, Reference number and check number, this can kind of be whatever you want it to be. Personally, I like to come up with something off the wall. I don't like it to look exactly like a POS transaction because it was done in GEMpay, and I like to paper trail as much as possible to show that, hey, this was a transaction done in GEMpay because the POS is not going to come up with a check number A1B2C3. Maybe someone out there does, but I highly doubt it. So just kind of something that if you want it to look like a regular check, go ahead. If you want it to kind of stand out, by all means. The transaction total, I highly recommend always doing a positive number here and letting the transaction type or the transaction def here do all of the computing for you. So if you needed to charge the account, you would choose a positive number. If you needed to load the account, you choose a positive number. If you needed a refund, so on and so forth. We would like to use positive numbers here just to keep it easy. Just let the system kind of do the math for you. And then the description. This gives you a description field that allows you to tie any comments. For me, for support, we like to put the case number in there for whenever you send us a case. We'll put that into the description. Just something that allows you to have a paper trail so you can keep track of what you need. And then again, this is going to be the reloading account transaction just to kind of show you the outlet and the transaction definition change. Just to show you that outlet is office. We typically like to do this whenever loading accounts because it shows this also was done on the back end or in the office. Most POS systems are not going to be able to load via the office outlet. It just shows you that somebody went into the back end to load that account. The transaction type is meal plan payment. So this is actually going to give money to like a resident who may need $100 more. Maybe their family called in and say, hey, we want Emma Young to have $200 more this month to go down to the bistro and enjoy food. And, let's say physicians, you need to load some more money onto a physician's account, something like that. And then the transaction total, we upped it to 150. Again, this will load $150 to the account. So once you finally got all of your transactions together, you've gone in there, you've added your 1, your 10, your 100. Next, you're going to see the batch manage screen. So when you're finished with that, we'll know you can identify the batch ID here was April 1 Cafe. And then we have some few buttons right here. We have delete batch, post batch, add transaction, and print batch. Delete batch and add transaction are pretty self-explanatory. Post batch, when you actually hit the push pin, it's going to ask for a cutoff date. You can just choose today's date, the date that it is whenever you do this, and then hit post, and that'll be good, and it'll post the batch on through. It'll let you know if there's any errors on the screen as well. The last button is very helpful, the print batch button. This will actually give you a PDF printout of that batch, because once you post this batch, it's no longer here. Those transactions are posted to the account and it's not on this screen. And the only way you can do that is know that, hey, I did this, or you made comments on the transactions, and you'd have to go back there and look at them. If you do the print batch beforehand, you can file this away in your filing cabinet. You can put it away however you need to file it, but it gives you that paper trail again to show like, hey, I loaded these accounts. Hey, I charged these accounts. So I have this information right here in case these people come up. I can show like, hey, yes, I put this in manually on the back end. It's a pretty helpful tool. And then here's Emma Young's transactions again, just to kind of show you how those reflect on the transaction tab for the account. You can see the 689 charge and the 150 payment. It looks just like it was done at the POS system. Kind of goes in there right away, and you're good to go. Alrighty, and we're going to move into reports. Now, for reports, there are 3 reports that are going to cover 95 to 99% of y'all's use cases. It's going to be the account summary report, the daily transactions report, and the daily transactions by selected outlets. There are a lot of other niche reports available to you, and by all means, feel free to click through them and just run some information, see if it provides you any kind of information that you also find useful. I've just found in my time being here and supporting a lot of y'all that these 3 reports are really going to get the job done because they cover 3 very important pieces of information that another one does not. So first, we're going to do the account summary report. The account summary report is just that. It shows you the summary of the accounts. Now, I skipped the filter page just to kind of consolidate this a little bit more. However, here at the bottom, and I'll magnify this slide for everybody so we can see it a little bit more. Down here at the bottom are the filters that I chose for this report. It gives you the options to choose account number ranges. So let's say you needed to look up 500 different gift cards. All you need to know is the gift card beginning number and the last gift card number. And then you're going to get all of those on the report. Or if you just know this, all of your account numbers are very similar, you can do that as well. Or you can just leave it open for all of them. Account profile, we chose all profiles, but let's say you wanted to just look at payroll deduct or independent living accounts. That's where you would choose that. For the date range, self-explanatory, any date range restrictions that you may need, you can put there as well. Location, let's say I needed to look at my Alaska cells or my Georgia cells, or I needed to see just at the bistro location. That's where that would be. Outlet, I said bistro for location, I actually meant it for outlet. So if you needed to see your bistro, your cafe, your gift shop, your coffee shop for the account summaries, that's where it'd be. And then the transaction type, just any gift shop charge, cafe charge, meal plan, room charge, those kind of things. That's going to be the filter across the board for most of these. Some of them have a little less. The account summary actually, I believe, has the most out of these three reports. And this is just the information here. I mean, you see all the accounts, you got their account number reflected in the first column, their name, and then you have their total of the charges and the credits. So for Emma Young, she's got more charges than that manual batch that we posted, but you can see the $150 manual load that we did through that batch reflected here in this report. And it's just a good, just high view of all the accounts and their activity. If you wanted to see how everybody was doing, or needing to know, these people are spending this amount, they are exceeding this amount, so on and so forth. So we'll move over to the daily transactions. This is going to be the transaction types. So you got meal plan payment, payroll deduct. Maybe this is gift shop charge for you or cafe charge. Maybe this is room charge. This is going to be really focusing on the transaction types and that date range. So for us, we chose the same filter for the account numbers, but we chose a date range of March 1st through April 15th, just to kind of show that as well. But this would be great information for knowing, hey, we're doing this many room charges, or my physicians are using stipend this amount of times in a month. We need to pull back on that, or we need to encourage that more. Payroll deduct is really booming, or hey, payroll deduct was hardly being used last month. Why is that? Those are the kind of things that you can use this report for to kind of fuel information for moving forward. And then daily transactions by selected outlets is going to be the outlets. Instead of the transaction types, we're going to see the places that the money is actually being pulled to. So your cafe, your office, your coffee shop, this could be your bistro. This could be anywhere that you have set up as an outlet for your account. This would be good to know, hey, the bistro was really good last month. That sale that we were doing was great. Or, the bar, their promotion really didn't drive any more transactions last month. This is the kind of place that you would look for that. And same goes with the filter here. We chose a date range, but you can kind of play with this to your own. So just going through it, it really shows you these three reports can cover your accounts, your transaction types, and your outlets. Again, that's 95 to 99% use cases, because that's mostly what the system is being used for, is to kind of keep track of all that information. Next, I have the users tab pulled up, but we're going to step away from it for a second to actually talk about queries. I didn't actually put any slides here for queries, but I did mention it in one of the previous slides because I just wanted to touch on it real quickly. For queries, most of the ones there, again, are niche queries that most of y'all will not use. However, when there is any kind of data or information that you need from the system that may not be given to you in the reports, that's when you can come to the Common Sense support team and say, hey, I need this information. We can build queries, which are practically custom reports that allow you to have those data pools of the information that you need, and we can kind of configure those to really cater them to you. So I just kind of wanted to talk about that quickly. And then we'll move on to users now. And this really is not much of a thing that y'all are going to get to see, but it's going to show you the malleability of GEMpay and the system that we can really cater to whoever's using this to really kind of make it a more streamlined process or give them more information to be able to make more changes as needed. So we're going to kind of dive into that really quickly. So when we hit the user privileges, this is the screen that you're going to see. A lot of this is just going to reflect over here. The menus tab is literally these tabs that are over here. We can turn off those, hide those, make it to where they're not even there so you don't have to even think about them. And you just kind of scroll through these, and it's just several different things that we can hide. We can show reports. Those niche reports I was talking about, you don't want to see them? Fine, no problem. Austin can turn them off for you. Or hey, Austin, I want 500 queries to be shown. Hey, this is where Austin turns them on so that way you can see them. And it just allows us to really cater the system to whoever's logging in. You can see we dive into transaction management here. So if somebody needs to come in here and be able to view transactions or add transactions, but not be able to delete them or modify them, we can allow that. We can give supervisors the ability to do everything that support technicians can do, so on and so forth. So it really allows us to, again, cater the system to what you want to see. So lastly, I'm going to cover the roadmap. So big announcement, GEMpay version 5 is live. We actually have sites that are running on GEMpay version 5, and this is very exciting because it's just a really good overhaul of GEMpay. It's great. The development team has worked very hard on this, and it's awesome. Coming from the support guy, nerd out a little bit. But we covered GEMpay version 4 and through this webinar because most accounts are going to stay on GEMpay version 4 for a while. It's going to take some time to get everybody moved over to version 5. Plus, just continuing to doing live testing, making sure that the system's exactly where we want it to, as we're rolling it out further and further to y'all. And some big notes here, some architectural changes. Cloud hosted. Some of y'all are already hosted on the cloud with GEMpay version 4, which is awesome. Give support a great chance to support y'all a little bit quicker. And allows just for more recent technology to really shine. No downtime for upgrades in GEMpay version 5. Currently in GEMpay version 4, most of the time whenever we have to update y'all, it takes 5 minutes or so. If y'all need a lot of updates, maybe 15 minutes, but this is typically scheduled offline. GEMpay version 5, we can push updates as needed. It won't affect you, you won't know, and the cashiers will be able to continue to go and charge. Transfers of imports and exports, the way that we handle information coming into GEMpay and information coming out of GEMpay is a lot more user-friendly and end-user friendly for the payroll teams, the HR teams, those kind of teams. So it's just a overhaul of that and is just a lot more fluid. And then user security, 2025. Who doesn't love some user security in 2025? I'm sure all of us talk about it frequently, probably every day. We have something in our emails about user security. So, and some feature changes without kind of diving into all of these. Of course, we got some changes with accounts, limits, and batches, recurring transactions, just the way that they operate. The biggest one here, a lot of y'all are probably going to clap and cheer behind your computer screens, is the scheduled reports. For a lot of y'all who do run GEMpay reports and have asked for a while, can I just get this emailed to me? Yes, in GEMpay version 5, you can have it emailed to you every day, every second, every week, every month, however you want it. You can set it up once and forget it. You don't have to go in there and run the report again like you've done 1,000 times in the past. So it's a very exciting feature. I know a lot of people are excited about. The user queries that I was talking about that we build out for you, we now call them data views. Again, it's just view of data. With the data views, though, you actually have the opportunity to build the information out yourself instead of just coming to support. However, we would love to assist you in this to allow you to be able to get through the data views easier, but it is also a very palatable way of configuring your own data to be able to get what you need. Logging, just some more logging. So, when Sally made a change yesterday, we'll know it. You'll know it. And then a built-in help menu, which is really awesome. If you don't know how to navigate something in GEMpay version 5, you have a help menu that's there to break it down for you, give you some knowledge base articles. It's just awesome. So GEMpay version 5 is a very exciting thing, and we're really looking forward to moving it out to everybody. And with that, I think it is back to you, Mark.
Thank you, Austin. That is fantastic information. I am sure that everybody on this call is a GEMpay expert now. But in case we are not, let's talk resources. So, customer support. And this kind of goes for not just GEMpay, but for all of our applications, right? When something is broken, something goes down, something is causing you delays. I know that the natural reaction is to pick up the phone and call that 800 number that you see at the bottom of your screen for the on our deck page, and you can still do that. You can absolutely do that. That's fine. Our preferred method of initial contact is though the support@csense.com email address. Why do I say that? Um, that generates it auto generates a ticket number for you for your problem, which then in turn drops into the tech support team's queue. So a guy like Austin it'll fall into his queue and he'll be able to work on it pretty quickly. If you we have assigned tech support team members on phone duty that rotates. And if you try to call, there may be you may get somebody, but you may get the voicemail, and then you leave a voicemail, and a ticket is still not created. So it's that support at csense.com, I believe, and we all believe, is critical to getting your problem solved faster. Um, Also, if you have a non-critical problem and you just want to try to inquire about, hey, I wonder if GEMpay can do this, or if I wonder if GEMpay can do that. We have an incredible knowledge base of articles on our website. If you just go on there and you just type in some keywords, usually you can find something that is going to be pretty helpful for you. I know that I use it personally internally, so it's a great tool to help. And also too, obviously Pal's done a great job at setting up these webinars over the last year or so. We have all of those recordings as well, that you can always go back and check out and review. And then you have your account managers. You have myself and you have Jonathan Sellers, who I know most of you probably know as well. We're here for you as well. We're your client advocate, right? If you need us to, escalate an issue, we're here for you to do that. We're able to answer just general product questions. We're able to provide you learning materials, and then we just like setting up recurring meetings, just that touch base, that touch point, to make sure that you guys are doing okay. Your folks on the floor are like they like working with the product that we're supplying them. So that's it. That's really the end of our presentation. So I'll turn it over to Pal now. Pal, did we have any questions come in that we can maybe help answer?
Yeah, so we have a couple, but I just want to thank you both for doing such a great job and sharing your knowledge, and just if it's a refresher for some of the folks on this call, that's great. If it's something new, that's amazing. And then if you have folks that, weren't able to join us and you think they could benefit from this, please definitely share the slide deck with them. I did have a question about getting a copy of this recording, and we will definitely make it available. I will include it in the survey email that goes out, so you can watch it on demand and share it with your colleagues. With that, a question that came in is regarding badges. What happens if a badge is already assigned to another individual? It sounds like, Austin, that might be a question for you.
Yeah, I'll take that. So, a badge being assigned to two individuals or more individuals can definitely cause issues if you're not restricting accounts and badges based off of locations. So it's totally fine if Mark's in Alaska and I'm in Georgia and we have the same badge number, but we're based off of the locations of his account set to Alaska, mine set to Georgia. It's okay. My badge is not going to work in Alaska. His badge is not going to work here in Georgia. So it'll charge to the proper account. However, in the event that the badge, we're at the same place, so we're both in Mississippi, we have the same badge, we're both at the same hospital, and we go to charge, there will actually be a pop-up for the cashier that they'll be able to, or the waiter, they'll be able to see that two names pop up. They'll see Mark's name, they'll see my name, and from there they'll have to kind of choose which account to post the charge to. From there, they can ask the person standing in front of them. Maybe they've got their badge right there. It says Mark on it. They know to choose Mark. It says Austin on it. They know to choose Austin. Or they could ask the person in front of them and just say, hey, what was your name? And they can choose the proper account. So in that case, it can maybe slow down the process a little bit. We do kind of recommend only one person having a badge number. However, we can kind of accompany using the locations, badge numbers being reused. So that's kind of my answer to that question.
Yeah, no, perfect. I think that made sense, and hopefully it helped that individual. I have another question. If a physician has a stipend and one day the stipend is used up, would the system switch to payroll deduction automatically? Are there any notifications to the admin?
So it depends on how the system's set up. It can be and it cannot be. So if we wanted this physician to only use a stipend, maybe they only have the stipend bucket. After their stipend's used up, they wouldn't be able to use their badge anymore. It would say over account profile limit or over badge limit. And then from there, they'd have to pay with cash or card. Now, let's say this physician is able to payroll deduct. From there, it's called a waterfall setup to where hey, it tries to hit this first and then it goes into that. So as long as it's set up that way, it will try to charge the stipend first. And if it can't charge the entire amount there, we can either have it automatically prorate or have it prompt a proration. So that way the cashier knows, hey, your stipend's only going to cover 30 cents of this. So the other $4.70 is going to be charged to your payroll deduct account. Are you okay with that? And from there, it allows the cashier to really kind of cater it to the person standing in front of them. But if it's automatically set up, the physician swipes their badge. They have no idea if it's charging their stipend or the payroll deduction. 30 cents gets posted into the stipend, so it doesn't go to their payroll deduction, and then the other 470 posts to their payroll deduction. So it really just kind of depends. Most accounts like the automatic approach to where they just kind of swipe their badge and go. It moves a lot quicker. Some people like to know and be able to tell the person standing in front of them so there's no surprises. So
yeah. Okay, awesome. And then with Emma's example in here, it looked as if she had meal planned as well as payroll deduct. So it's kind of set up as an example showing that case, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Great. Let me filter through the questions. And then there's a question about migrating to GEMpay 5. How do we get that conversation started? How can we continue to, who do we talk to?
You could probably start with me or Jonathan. We would need to make sure that we get that scheduled with our tech support team and our PM team. But that's where that conversation gets started.
Okay, awesome. And then I think you mentioned this, Austin, when you were talking when it came to custom fields. That's something that our support team has to do. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. We kind of enable those to be seen. Most people probably won't see 4 there. Some people may see 1 that's currently there. For a lot of the accounts, probably have 1. So the account tab is not as populated whenever they open it up. But that's something that we can definitely add for sure and would have to be added by support.
Okay, perfect. Well, for folks on the call, if you have we are running up on time here. And so if you do have any questions that come up after our webinar, you are more than welcome to, if you know your contact, your arm, then please reach out to them and they can respond. Otherwise, you can also shoot an email to sales@csense.com and our team can follow up with any responses. Oh, okay, let's see if we can try to get this other question quickly in here, maybe for Austin. Is there a way to post a batch today in the batch import process to have a batch but have it included at a future date?
Repeat the last part of that question for me.
Sure. Yeah. So I think this is
Sorry.
regarding the maybe not the manual process, but they said is there a way to post a batch today in the batch import process to have a batch but have it included at a future date?
So posting at a future date, so a batch that you may load in there into the system and then post at a later date. Is that what I'm understanding? I believe.
I believe maybe I'm not sure if let me read it word for word and maybe it's my lack of I'm not
No, you're fine.
too good with GEMpay, which is why you're here. So let's see if we can distinguish this question. Oh, okay. Well, the attendee said yes. So however you worded it earlier is yes, what they're looking for.
So currently in GEMpay 4, we don't have a way to automatically post it at a future date. You would need to manually go in there and post it. You can preload it into the batch screen and go in there. However, with GEMpay version 5, we do have the ability to have that scheduled out. So that way, if it's on your work plate today, in the future, you don't have to worry about it. You can set it up and do it today and kind of forget about it. But in GEMpay version 4, you can preemptively load it in there, but you need to remember to go in and post it.
Okay, awesome. And then I will ask this last question too. So for anyone that we usually try to do a 45-minute webinar, so if anyone does have to drop, you're welcome to, but I will try to get this last question in. And then other questions, please send it to sales@csense.com. Someone asked, any trace of whoever edited the change can be located? So maybe like an audit trail, it sounds like.
So we do have a little bit of logging for an audit trail in GEMpay version 4. That is one of the big standouts with GEMpay version 5, is we have our logging is much more advanced, can really tell exactly who did what to an account, every little change somebody does. Currently in GEMpay version 4, the information is very limited, requires support to do a little bit more digging, but in GEMpay version 5, we'll have that at our fingertips.
Awesome. Great. Well, thank you both, and thank you equally to the folks that were able to stay with us a minute or two overtime here. Definitely join us for future webinars. These are topics that come from your feedback when you're filling out the surveys. So please complete those as well. And I am eternally grateful for my key speakers today. Thank you again. And yeah, we look forward to seeing everyone on a future webinar. So with that said, we can end the webinar here, and I hope everyone has a good rest of your day. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.